The sun rose over fields that hadn't changed in generations. Rows of dark soil, dusty leather boots, and the low, steady hum of old tractors. That's how his father farmed, and it's how his grandfather farmed before him. It was a life of hard work, calloused hands, and long, grueling days under the same unforgiving sky. But the boy, walking those same rows, saw something different. He saw the way the earth cracked open after every hot summer. He watched the water tanks run low, long before the season was over, and saw the crops wither just a little too early. One blistering afternoon, while helping his dad fix yet another busted irrigation line, the frustration finally boiled over. He looked up, wiping sweat from his brow, and asked, "Dad, why does it always feel like we're fighting the land instead of working with it?" His father just sighed, tightening a wrench. It was a question with no easy answer. A few weeks later, scrolling through his phone late at night, a video popped up. It showed something he'd never seen before, a system called aquaponics. Plants were growing vibrant and green, but without a single speck of soil. They were fed by fish swimming in a tank right below them. The water cycled in a continuous loop, from the fish up to the plants, filtered by their roots, and then back down, clean and clear. It was a farm inside a closed loop. No waste, no chemical runoff, just a perfect self-sustaining balance. He was captivated. He stayed up all night, falling down a rabbit hole of tutorials and forum posts. By the time the sun came up, his notebook was filled with frantic sketches of tanks, pipes, pumps and lights. It looked nothing like his father's farm, and that's what made it so exciting. He decided to start small, with what he could find. An old, forgotten bathtub behind the shed became his first fish tank. He bought a few tilapia from the local feed store and carefully placed them inside. For the plants, he used plastic cups with holes punched in the bottoms, letting the seedlings float on a styrofoam raft above the water. The first week was a disaster. The cheap pump clogged with algae, the water chemistry went haywire, and the fish nearly died. His dad walked by, saw the slimy mess, and couldn't help but let out a hearty laugh. But the boy didn't give up. He adjusted. He read and learned everything he could about pH levels, ammonia, nitrites and nitrates, all the invisible, intricate work happening just beneath the surface. Slowly, painstakingly, he found the balance. And by the third month, bright green lettuce was spilling over the edges of that rusty old tub. The day he brought his father a salad grown entirely from that system, something shifted between them. His father was a man of few words. He looked at the bowl, then back at his son, a skeptical look in his eyes. He took a bite, chewed slowly and thoughtfully, and then, without saying a word, went back for a second helping. That quiet nod of approval was all the encouragement the boy needed. Soon, more barrels began to line the fence. White PVC piping started winding like strange vines through the backyard. The place began to look like a chaotic mix between a science lab and a high-tech jungle, with a tangle of wires, sensors and timers orchestrating a silent green symphony. The boy didn't mind the mess. To him it wasn't chaos, it was life. Word started to spread around their small town. Curious neighbours would stop by, peering over the fence to see the contraption for themselves. They couldn't believe the growth. Fragrant basil, deep green spinach, hearty kale, and even bright red strawberries, all growing out of nothing but water. One neighbour, an old farmer himself, asked if the boy could build a similar system for his greenhouse. Then another asked. Within a year, the backyard experiment had exploded into a full-time operation. He leased a 10,000 square foot building on the edge of town, and then, before he knew it, 3 more. Each warehouse hummed quietly with the sound of circulating water, filled with vertical racks of plants stacked to the ceiling, fish tanks below, grow lights above, and water trickling between them like a gentle repeating rainfall. Meanwhile, his father's old fields, the ones worked for generations, sat still. The tractors were parked in the barn. The soil, for the first time in decades, was allowed to rest. At first, it felt wrong to his father, too easy, too quiet. The rhythm of the seasons he knew so well was gone. But when the numbers started coming in, even he had to admit the truth. They were getting 3, 4, sometimes 5 harvests a year from the indoor farms. They used no chemical fertilizers, no tractor fuel, and most importantly, almost no water. This, his dad said one day, walking through one of the new vertical bays, looking up at the rows of perfect lettuce. This is farming too. It's just smarter. The beauty of the system was its efficiency. Every part fed something else. The fish waste, rich in nutrients, became the perfect plant food. The plants, in turn, acted as a natural filter, cleaning the water for the fish. Solar panels on the roof powered the pumps and the lights. Nothing left the loop except for the food they harvested. He even designed an underground reservoir, a cool, quiet chamber where thousands of tilapia and catfish swam in filtered darkness. Directly above them, rows of lettuce, tomatoes, and peppers reached for the artificial LED sun. The air in the facility didn't smell like dirt or manure. It smelled like clean air, fresh water, and new growth. A smell of the future. Now, school buses pull up to the facility for field trips. He shows the kids the cycle, explaining how 1 bucket of water used over and over can grow food almost indefinitely. He tells them that farming isn't just about dirt and tractors anymore. It's about biology, engineering, and data. It's about systems, balance, and most of all, curiosity. Most of them just stare in awe, but there are always 1 or 2 who hang back, their eyes wide with inspiration, and ask the same question. How did you learn to do all this? He just smiles and tells them the simple truth. It all started by trying to fix a broken irrigation line. Sometimes, late at night when the facility is quiet, he still walks out to the edge of the old family field. The soil has gone wild again, covered in tall grass, buzzing with crickets under the moonlight. He thinks about all those mornings his dad woke him up before dawn to plough that same stretch of dirt. He remembers the sweat, the ache in his muscles, the constant sunburn. And he realizes that none of it was wasted. Because without knowing the struggle of the old way, he would never have understood what real progress felt like. He had to feel the problem in his own hands to truly appreciate the solution. Today, the farm is silent. There are no rumbling engines, no smell of diesel, no one shouting across the fields. There's just the soft, rhythmic hum of pumps and the gentle splash of water in the tanks below. Every leaf glows a vibrant green under the lights. Every drop of water recycles, and every harvest seems to double the last. His dad still visits every morning, coffee in hand, walking through the aisles and shaking his head with a proud half-smile. "I guess the farm didn't need more land after all," he says, looking at his son. "It just needed a new way to grow." The boy, now a man, nods and watches the water move, a constant life-giving current. He finally understood the lesson his father had been teaching him all along. You don't fight the land. You learn to listen to it. Thank you so much for watching. If this story inspired you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more stories about innovation and building a better future. We'll see you in the next one.